Welcome everyone to e-rev.tv. We're going to bring you M&M versus Energy for CEVO Playoffs Final Four. I'm Trey and I'm casting with my buddy Garrett. Hey Garrett, how are you doing today? Okay, maybe Garrett's having a little bit of...
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
There we go. You just got sidetracked a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, the button got unbound, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. Looking forward to this. It looks like it's going to be a PVZ matchup. And I'm pretty excited because, like you said, this is the CEVO playoffs, so it's a pretty important game for both these teams.
Yeah, and obviously the Final Four teams left, they're all going to be good. We got the #1 CEVO team, Energy, going against M&M, who is in 6th place with a record of 7-8. Energy's only lost one game ever, though, and it was in overtime to EG, the 2nd place team. So this should definitely be good.
Yeah, and losing to EG, EG is arguably one of the top tier teams. They have people in Korea, they have people in North America, all around, so they're definitely one of the top tier teams, and so is NRG. M&M, though, I think they have a good shot. I think I'd have to give the edge a little bit to NRG. They might be favored, but very slightly. Nothing very big here.
Yeah, definitely. Astoji is one of my favorite Zergs to watch, actually, just because he plays a lot differently than a lot of other Zerg players. In all the games that we've casted, he's done something slightly off that is not common to see. So hopefully he'll keep doing that, and we should have a pretty interesting game. Another interesting thing about Energy is they're sending about 4 or 5 players to the Dallas MLG coming up here. They say hopefully they're going to make a big splash in that scene. And as we go live right now on the countdown.
Yeah, it was interesting in chat there a little bit. Gustoji was saying some Eminem lyrics, some 8 Mile lyrics to get pumped up.
Yeah, getting pumped. Six
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
6jacksgaming.com. Actually, that's Energy's website. 6jacksgaming.com, and M&M is going to be mnmsc2.com. But first game, Lost Temple. It's supposed to be a Terran favored map. Neither one of these players are Terran, so do you think it's more of a Zerg type of map or a Protoss map?
Yeah, it really depends on the spawn position. If we get into a close spawn position, that's probably going to be more favored towards the Protoss. If it's the furthest cross positions, that's maybe Zerg favored. I mean, it's close air, it's more of a toss-up. Although Lost Temple is a pretty good map in general. It plays a little differently than some of the other maps, but everybody's used to it, so it's nothing unorthodox. There's been a lot of good games.
The cliff harassment, they can use those cliffs in the natural, kind of like a Terran can with the tanks with Colossus. Just using that to harass the workers and the building itself without actually, if they don't have vision, without any penalties at all. The only unit Zerg can really do that with is Hydralisk, which is kind of, I don't know, they can't reach too much anyway.
Yeah, I have seen that a little bit. I've seen it experimented with maybe a Nidus Canal or a drop up on the ledge, but it really doesn't do a whole lot, so I don't expect to see that at all here.
No, definitely not. And if they are at close positions on this match, what I was telling you about, the way Stoji plays, we saw him using spine crawlers. He'll creep all the way to the other base, and he was using spine crawlers like siege tanks almost, and he would move 3 or 4 up, dig them in, and then play off of those, kite the enemy back and forth. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I like myself about Lost Temple is with that Zonaga tower, and here we go.
And there we go. Cross positions is what the Zerg is going to be wanting, like we were talking about.
Yeah, I would say this is better for the Zerg. If you look at the map, you can see those Zonaga towers. That actually protects the entrance to your natural expansion, as well as the high-yield gold expansion. So, especially a Zerg player that likes to play a macro game, if they can push out and defend that middle with some spine crawlers, some other units, get that creep pushed out there, it's really kind of difficult to push in on a Zerg.
Yeah, definitely. He's not gonna be able to do that unique type of spine crawler that we were talking about, but this is gonna be a lot more macro oriented for him.
This is interesting. Ostoji going for the unusual Overlord Scout. Most of the time the Overlords go across the little gap between the two air position, and it looks like his second Overlord is making a beeline for that Scout. So this is actually a clever way to do it. I have seen people scout the other direction, but it's usually just to throw people off. But in this case, I think he has all Scout covered. He might do a little bit later of a drone Scout as well because of this.
Yep, I think by the time he gets there too, he's gonna see that it's pretty safe to go ahead and expand. Because I mean, if you cover those two, you know that obviously he's got to be in the top right.
Looks like a 14 pool going down for Ostoji. Still no Expo. He might go for a 14 hatchery right after this, or wait for an 18 hatchery. It's probably depend on, as these Overlords start to hit these positions, what he finds out. He's going to find, though, that it is a good position to drop that hatchery as soon as possible.
Yeah, and he's getting the he's got the extractor kind of early, so he's definitely gonna have speed upgrade.
Little worker battle here. That probe is going to back up. And Ostoji looking for that pylon block, making sure he doesn't get walled in on his own ramp. And at this point, Lucky Noob is looking to go ahead and block that hatchery. He sees no hatcheries down yet, and you can see he's queuing up some commands here to spin around. He's going to try to block that hatchery as long as he can. He might drop a pylon, he might just dance around, but that'll help his late game a little bit by delaying that expansion. Second gas going down for Lucky Noob. And the gas was stopped for Ostoji. He went ahead and got the speed for the Zerglings. That's a pretty common way to play it, and the expansion does go down.
Yeah, definitely.
Right now, I'm looking at Ostoji's view. He's starting to push out with this Overlord a little bit, although he's going to be nervous about his Stalker. He's trying to find out what's going on in Lucky Noob space. Pokes up with some Zerglings, finds it's the usual Protoss versus Zerg wall that Protoss does. He sees that Chrono Boost going down. We know it's a sentry coming out.
Okay, sorry about that. I was a little bit distracted earlier.
Oh, nice force field. Look at that. Lucky Noob force fields in those 4 Zerglings. That was solid. That's pretty big early.
He's able to still block with that Zealot too. So yeah, I mean, they'll try and attack your building so that you go away to hit those, and then obviously they'll do a run by. But with that force field,
and speed is up. Look at that. Anyway. As speed kicks in. Nice, nice.
So he is gonna.
Well, that turned around all the momentum. I was gonna say Lucky Noob had a little bit of a head start there, taking out 4 Zerglings. That's actually pretty big because that pretty much means they can build 2 less drones because they have to rebuild those Zerglings. But now with this scouting here, he sees the 3 gate. Looks like it's going to be a 3 gate Expo, and it is. Lucky Noob drops that Nexus for a 3 gate Expo. Pretty standard build.
Also, he'd be playing blind too, and he's still got that one laying alive in there, running around, seeing everything, having a conniption fit apparently. As he takes that last one off. But he's sending a bunch, I assume, to take out this second base of his.
Yeah, you know, only 2 sentries, that's not very much. Usually if you go 3 gate Expo, you need to get... You can do it on 2 sentries, but he has 2 sentries and 1 Zealot. With warp gate up, there we go. 2 more sentries coming in. Oh, and 1 sentry gets picked off. This is not looking good for Lucky Noob. He'll be able to hold this off with good micro. He's not in too much trouble, but he has a lot of pressure coming on. Good surround on that Zealot there.
I do think he's going to lose the Nexus, though. No, he's warping in more sentries, I think he'll be right.
Yeah, if he doesn't make a big blunder, he'll be able to hold on to that, but he's been losing too many units, especially those sentries.
Yeah. Sentries are expensive, especially early in the game when you only have 1 base, 2 gases.
Ostoji smells blood here. He's making more Zerglings.
Yeah. If you look at the
he knows the sentries don't have very much energy.
He's just now gone to lair and cut building Zerglings right after that last round was made, and he's getting a couple more drones.
Stoji's breaking down those rocks, getting ready to take that third. That's a good idea. At this point, Lucky Noob isn't really able to put on a whole lot of aggression.
Yeah.
If he goes too far with those
Sentry
sentries, he
heavy-
could get surrounded.
Sentry heavy army like that, you're not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with anything, which I really don't like that opening. It's going to get you a second base, but after that, it pretty much freely lets him build wherever he wants to build. And that's not good for Zerg.
Yeah, that's true. Some players, like In Control, is a big fan of the very heavy sentries. I use it sometimes against Zerg myself as Protoss, and I prefer a couple stalkers, because look at this. Alright, this will be really important how the micro works out here. One sentry down, 2 sentries down, 3 sentries down. That's really bad.
He's going to get a 4th one right there. That was pretty big. Pretty good trade. The Zerglings are almost free,
definitely.
And the sentries are not.
This game is slowly sliding towards Ostoji having the lead here.
Yeah. Another thing we've seen Ostoji do that's slightly different is he gets a bunch of queens a little bit earlier if he thinks his opponent is going air, and he's able to hold off just about any kind of air attack with like 3 queens and just a constant transfuse.
Delayed force fields there a little bit. That was not good. Lucky Noob lost another sentry because he must not have been looking at his troops, and the Zerglings ran in and got a very quick surround. I think Lucky Noob knows he has to do something desperate.
Yep, but if those 3 spine crawlers get done, it's not going to be very effective.
Yeah, you're right. Going to that choke into the natural expansion there, that's almost certainly not going to work.
Go.
And the third hatchery is cancelled.
Yep, it was cancelled so that he could afford those spine crawlers. Bunch of roaches coming out now.
Pulling drone. He has to buy time for those spines to come up. Look at that micro. He uproots the spine crawler that was low.
Excellent. And it
He
gets
transfuses it. It's still very dangerous.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to pull drones again, which he does.
Both those spine crawlers barely holding on. I know Lucky Noob wants to pick him off. He wants him really bad.
But he needs every unit that he can get right now as he warps in 5 zealots. He goes back at it, takes 1 down.
Solid micro from Ostoji here, but I don't think Lucky Noob can hold this off. Yep, I think so.
Good work by him. Now you can see why he's one of my favorite Zerg players. And he builds a hatchery right in front of him. He doesn't even care that he can see it.
Yep. Yeah, right there. He should be able to win this game if he doesn't make any mistakes. So we'll see, though.
He doesn't overextend himself. Well, I haven't seen him do it yet anyway. He'll take this smaller lead. Not so small lead at this point in time, but he takes a small lead and edges forward until he's got a commanding lead, and then ends the game decisively.
What's interesting, however, is that right now Ostoji, our Zerg player, has 42 workers, and Lucky Noob, our Protoss player, has 52. So our Protoss player actually has more workers.
Well, I think a lot of that could have been when he was pulling the drones, going back and forth there. I think he lost a few.
Some pressure coming on for Lucky Noob. It's that 1 cannon, but that cannon's pretty far back. This could be really bad.
Will just be able to roll through it. Good roach micro.
Lucky Noob picking off those injured roaches first.
I think we could maybe able to hold this off, but I mean, he's just getting further and further ahead. Good building placement though by Lucky Noob. I will say that wall is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree, and he has that Overlord there. That Overlord is still slow. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. Overlords do have speed now. The pressure's on. If Ostoji loses those roaches, though, he could open himself up to a counterattack. And look at that, Lucky Noob trapped in his own units. He has to break down his own pylon. That can't feel good.
No, not especially when you're under pressure like this. Oh man, he's gonna lose at least 1.
The high yield expansion is up for a Stoji. Stoji can pretty much just chain produce units at this point. Doesn't really need to produce any more workers. He should be able to clinch it right here.
Yep, we should see a good game anytime now. And there it is. First game of the series done. Energy takes it. 1-0. As we go to the score.
That was solid play. Very, very solid play on Stoji's part. I'm very impressed.
I really like the way he plays. Now, the way CEVO works is the losing team is going to pick the next map to be played. You can't play the same map twice in a series, but it's anything from the Blizzard map pool. That CEVO doesn't have any unique maps in it like ESEA does, like the IC Cup maps or the GSL maps haven't been incorporated in this first season.
Yeah, it's interesting those new maps that people are adding in, but CEVO is sticking with what we know, which is good because we have seen some games on unusual maps and people generally, they don't play their best. Sometimes it's not the best game and usually those games are won through a blunder. Although in the future that might work, but for now we'll just stick with the Blizzard maps.
Yeah. And the first season is when you kind of work out all your kinks too. So I mean, they might have something in mind. I'm sure they'll listen to any suggestions that you guys want to send in. Because we know all the CEVO admins. Actually, they're pretty cool guys. But yeah, this is a good game. Still waiting on the map choice. M&M beat Stoic Esports to get into this round last time. 3-1, I believe. They're currently got 7 wins, 8 losses. And the last time they played Energy, they lost 1-3. They were able to take 1 round off of them then.
And for Energy, since they are the #1 seed, they didn't actually have to play that first round. So this is Energy's first playoff game. And M&M had to get through 1 to get here. And they did pretty well. Like you said, a 3-1. Now, if you were a Protoss player in this situation, you're down 0-1, what map would you pick?
I like Xel'Naga Caverns just for all matchups, pretty much. It's a solid map, nothing really cheesy about it. The Expo is kind of open, which is good for him to harass a Zerg on, and yeah, it's just a good map with nothing really too crazy to it.
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody agrees Xel'Naga is a pretty fair map all around. Although I have to say, if I'm down 0-1, I'd probably try to pick one that's not so fair. I'd probably try to pick either Delta Quadrant or Steps of War.
Jungle Basin too. A lot of Protoss favor the warping across the the little fault line there to the natural base.
So, I'm curious though about Jungle Basin. Jungle Basin was just removed from the Blizzard ladder pool recently. I know you and I both played CEVO matches on that map, so I'm curious, is it in the CEVO pool right now? Is that a legal map?
I have to imagine that it is. There was no announcement about it, so I think it should still... But it does say Blizzard map pool, so maybe not. Because it says anything in the Blizzard 1v1 ladder, so... Yeah, actually, I would have to say no, probably not.
Looking at the Blizzard map pool, Blistering Sands, Scrap Station, Steps of War, Xel'Naga Caverns, Delta Quadrant, Lost Temple, Metalopolis, and Shakura's Plateau.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't think it's on there. Yeah, still waiting on the map choice. Their manager's in a game, so they might be making it right now.
And noticing the play from Lucky Noob of what we've seen so far, he didn't really show a whole lot of aggression until I think he felt like he needed to put on that aggression. I think he probably likes that 3-gate expand build. That's one I use pretty often. The 3-gate expand leads into either a 5 or 6 gate. It's basically a delayed 4-gate rush, and so you bring in a lot of the same units you would as a 4-gate, but 4-gates are these days pretty easy to hold off if you have roaches and a couple spine crawlers, but that delayed 4-gate, the 5 or 6-gate on 2 base is pretty nasty, and I think that's what he was aiming for, but he lost too many units early. So knowing that's his playstyle, I wonder what kind of map he's going to look for this time. Probably not a 2-player map if I had to guess.
Yeah, well, he did have 5 gates at the end there. It was just a little bit too late, I think. I think you have to put immediate pressure on a Zerg player, or they're just going to run away and take the whole map.
Yeah, especially on those positions.
And also with the unit composition he chose, he left himself open to kind of early aggression as well.
Yeah, and there was a couple times his sentry force fields came a little late. They seemed a little... there was one or two that were wasted. Yeah.
Got the game invite.
What's especially bad about losing sentries early is that the idea with getting your sentries early is that they develop their energy for late game, and then they can drop a ton of force fields, and you really only got what you invested early in. But in
looks like it is Jungle
Lucky
Basin,
Noob's case,
surprisingly.
Okay, Jungle Basin, yeah. Well, I think almost everybody agrees this is a Protoss favored map in the PvZ matchup.
Yeah, I think even Blizzard agrees, and that's why they took it out.
Yeah. It's very difficult to hold a third.
Alright, here
The
we go.
natural
While we're
expansion
waiting
is
on the
very easy.
countdown, just going to give a shout out to the team's websites again. M&M Micro Macro is going to be mnmsc2.com. And Sixjacks Energy is going to be sixjacksgaming.com. And sixjacks.com is the sponsor. Their website should be up in about a month or less. Alright, here we go. Get the spawn positions out of the way. Spawning at the far south, 6 o'clock, is going to be M&M, Lucky Noob, our red Protoss, and top left, 12 o'clock, is going to be Energy Astoji, purple Zerg. Do you think
it's a two-player map.
Do you think Astoji is going to go for this third base as quickly as you saw the last game, given how weirdly out of place it is compared to other maps?
You know, going for that third base, going for a long macro game is not going to be easy for a Zerg player. So sometimes they've been known to one base on this map, either like a Roach Rush, one base all in, or a Nidus Worm, something like that.
What the Zerg does have going for this map is the breakable rocks, kind of like blistering sands, so he would be able to get at him on two fronts if he does that. So I won't be surprised if we see that first couple Zerglings sent to the rocks to break him down.
Yeah, that's right. Those back rocks do allow them into the natural, whereas there's no other entrance to the natural without going through the main, so it's a pretty easily defended natural. Although the only thing about the back rocks is the position to run there is actually quite long. You have to go through sort of the middle of the map, and if you get caught over there, you're open to a counterattack.
Yeah.
Look at this gas before pool, and not too early, but that's a pretty early gas. He gets 3. Yeah, definitely. That says to me there might be some kind of a tech. It could be a Roach Rush, or it could be some type of fast lair tech.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the Zerg timings too well, so I couldn't say if it was going to be a Roach Rush or not, but I know you can do it off of one gas.
Yeah, definitely. It's not so early that it's a cheese or anything like that. It could be Banelings at the same time. It could be like a one-base Baneling build.
Yeah, and he's ahead by one game, and normally I wouldn't say he's going to one base, but when you're up by one game, you can kind of afford to do something that you don't normally do and take a loss.
Look at the timings that he just had this down. This was actually really good. Astoji, he cut his gas mining perfectly at 100, and as he hit 100 gas, the spawning pool finished, and he instantly got the speed upgrade for the Zerglings. He's clearly worked on that build before. That was impeccable timing, getting everything to work out. Now he's only mining minerals. He's almost certainly going to expand. He's almost certainly going to make quite a few speedlings.
I was expecting to see a block, maybe build a pylon or something by Lucky Noob, but he chose to just keep that probe alive a little bit longer to scout inside of his base.
Hatch is going down, and yeah, you're right. That probe, he didn't even contest it at all.
Yeah, when you're playing against Zerg, anything you can do to delay your opponent's first expansion is going to be big.
Yeah, I agree. As Terran, it's a little bit more difficult because you can't just drop a building and run, but as Terran or as Protoss, you want to delay that natural as much as you can. There's really no reason not to. And as you said, look at that, those lings ran around to break down those rocks. They've been working on it for a little while now. One more ling coming to join them. And speed kicks in.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got that wall, but he's just now putting that pylon down. I was going to say he doesn't have anything to see, but he just put that down. He is going to be able to see it now. Still not a whole lot he can do if they break through in time. I mean, he doesn't have any sentries. He's got a stalker. He can start picking him off. That might deter him. Alright. Is that better?
Yep, that's better.
Okay. I was told my mic was a little bit quiet.
Right. That stalker comes out to harass. Now, with a lot of micro, Ostoji could keep breaking it down a little bit and rotate out his lings and have them heal, but he might not want to wound all his lings like that, because if it is a 4-gate, he wants to keep them relatively high. And
also, I feel like that's pretty APM intensive this early in the game. I feel like his actions could be better spent elsewhere.
Uh-oh, 4 gates, that's it. I don't expect to see an expansion. Look at that, 4 gates down for Lucky Noob.
Blink also being researched.
Yep.
Twilight Council. Probably just a bunch of Blink Stalkers. Like I said, he's going to probably try and get vision, and he can play on that fault line by the expansion a whole lot, jumping on back and forth from there and the platform, anywhere on the platform, abusing those cliffs.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the reasons why it is so Protoss favored, is because those Blink Stalkers, when they're moving over cliffs, they have more mobility than even Speedlings, so you can just easily avoid your opponent and only shoot them where they're vulnerable.
And also, they're pretty good against Speedlings when you're able to blink each Stalker back behind, because Speedlings are obviously a melee unit and not going to be able to chase them down as easily.
Yeah, it's like you were telling me about the Undead Warcraft 3 strategy, the spiders. I think you said. I didn't play that game, but if anybody here plays Warcraft 3.
They're all yelling at you right now. It's Crypt Fiends, you noob.
Crypt Fiends, that's right. Alright, so we see the blink. I'm surprised that Lucky Noob even blinked right there. That's a little sloppy. He blinked in front of the Zelnaga. He gave away his hand, I think.
Making sure it works. Just testing it out before he gets there.
Well, Ostoji almost certainly knows what's going on. Looking at his vision here, he doesn't actually see the 4 gates, but he did see the Twilight Council, so, I mean, he knows it's a blink rush.
There you go, here's the first engagement. Oh, blinks onto that choke, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, not the best choice of blink right there. I think, oh, he was just trying to take out those Zerglings, because now he's about to pop over. Look at that, he's going to warp units in. He has his pylon set up.
Run back and forth. Taking out what he can basically for free.
And there you go. Only the ones being attacked blinking out.
Very good. He leaves 2 over there for extra vision.
Oh, attacked as he blinks in. That means the cooldown's going to be a little while. He's going to lose a couple because of that. And Ostoji's back. Probably a good call. He doesn't want to lose too many roaches and lings. Ah, this is a devastating attack. That blink micro back. It's so painful to watch, but it's so good. Lucky Noob might actually win this right here. If he can take down that hatch, all he has to do is leave, and then he'll win a long game.
Definitely. More blink micro there. He's hitting all these drones. He's choosing to target the drones as opposed to the roaches, which is kind of weird.
Oh, solid micro. Look at that. Look at some of these at 10, 15 HP, 11 HP on one.
Still getting killed. Yep, and I think we might see a good game here shortly. Oh, no, we won't.
That's just about it.
I see three spine crawlers going up, and a 4th one being repositioned, so we won't be seeing a good game. We're going to see a second macro hatch, and Ostoji is not going to quit.
But Ostoji can get those back rocks down.
I've definitely seen him
he's in a
come
terrible
back before,
position.
So. But right now, yeah, he's less than favorable.
Yeah, Lucky Noob, after game 1, he really played much better in this game. Last game, some of his decisions were a little suspect. This game, it was very good play.
I think for that map, he may have not had such as solid of a plan as he did this time. Like, this time he had a clear objective. We knew what he was going to do, and he's executed.
Yep. He picked a map, and he knew exactly what he was going to do, as you said. And this is the perfect execution right here. He's going to warp in another set right now. More Stalkers joining the party here, and this is a pretty one-sided battle that's about to happen.
Yeah, excellent blink marker.
Yeah, and Lucky Noob, he seems to have warmed up on the blink. Earlier he was grabbing whole clumps of 4 or 5 and blinking them at a time, and now he's blinking them individually a lot more often, and that is the proper way to do it. Drone's pulling off,
I think a lot of
trying
it
to push one last time.
Could be a confidence thing too, and his nerve as he's in the lead, kind of starting to calm
and
down.
GG.
There we go, 1-1, tied right now as we move into the third. Yeah, a lot better play from Lucky Noob.
Yeah, it may just be warming up. He seemed to not only warm up between games, but warm up during that game. And at the end there, his micro was perfect. He was warping units in when the cooldown came back for his warp gates. He just executed his strategy perfectly.
Yep, and just a note on that early blink, remember by the towers, I made a joke about testing if it works, but have you ever gone to attack like as Terran? This is I play Terran, so and you get there and let's say you're going against Zerg and you're tank marine, and you get there and you get to the point where you're like, all right, this is a good point, I'm gonna siege, and you keep hitting siege, and it just doesn't happen, and then you're like, what the hell? And then you look back and you haven't even researched it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
the only thing that's worse than that. Yeah, the only thing that's worse than that is when you push in and you press T and the stim doesn't go off. Yeah,
yeah,
that's terrible.
Or you notice that they don't have shields when you thought they did.
Yep. Although really,
upgrades are huge.
Yes, they are. And that upgrade, the blink upgrade, it depends on the map, but it can be so devastating. That's actually one of my favorite builds, is that sort of a combination of what he did in Game 1 and Game 2, where you do the 3 racks expand and then you go for Blink Stalkers, because you have so many more. You have 6 gateways worth of Blink Stalkers. It's absolutely devastating.
Definitely, yeah. And the later the game goes, the more upgrades matter. More of the attack and the armor than the other ones, but, you know, still, everything is... Oh, I didn't invite you to the game.
Alright, there we go.
We started.
I could watch the stream and recast over the stream.
Just be 5-10 minutes late on everything.
Yep.
Alright, here we go. Tie-breaking game in the first best of 3 we're bringing to you between Micro Macro versus Energy. Scrap Station, chosen by Energy Stoji. It's going to be a more Zerg-favored map, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I would say as Protoss, if you want to pick a map, Jungle Basin is probably the best out of the ladder pool, and if you're Zerg, then you definitely want to pick Scrap Station. So Lost Temple is a pretty even match, and especially because we had even spawn positions, Ostoji clinched the game there. And I think Ostoji is going to have the advantage right from the start on this map.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to safely expand pretty quick, but also, if he doesn't get proxied or something, we've seen that as well. They proxy right by the enemy's breakable rock side. We've seen a 2-gate rush that way that he almost lost to on this map, actually, but he was able to beat it. It's a pretty good game, actually. But, yeah, I think Protoss isn't at as far of a disadvantage as a Terran player would be because of the warp gates. They're going to make a big difference.
Yeah. One of the disadvantages about this map is the huge rush distance, so that really closes down a lot of rushes. And then in addition to that, the natural is protected by a narrow choke that's right by the choke to your main base, so it's very easy for Zerg to defend that one point. A lot of the time they'll go hatch first. Really, there's almost no reason not to go hatch first in this map as a Zerg player.
Yeah, a lot of time we saw actually in the GSL even expanding to the gold first. And what that does is that forces your opponent to make a decision, because you know, because the distances are so huge, if he's attacking that, he can't defend his base, and Zerg units are so fast you can just run by and do a lot of damage.
Yep. I've seen that especially with roaches, because they can knock down those middle rocks pretty quick, and if you go fast for the gold, get some roaches, knock it down. You're right, you're in that terrible position as Protoss where you can't really decide what to do, and either one is bad. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, what would you do? I would probably go for the main, I think.
Yeah, you pretty much have to be willing to base trade at that point. You go for their main, and if they go for your main, that's that. And Astoji does go for hatch first.
He's going to take a big economic lead once that hatch kicks in.
Yeah, Lucky Noob doesn't look happy. He's attacking away at that hatchery. That's not really going to do any good, but that was the drone that was there to probably block that hatchery from going down.
Yeah.
So one interesting thing about Lucky Noob's wall here is he does have a pylon in the wall. On this map, it's such a wide ramp that sometimes you have to do that, depending on what your opponent is doing. As Protoss, I would try to scout them, and if I don't see a pull down early, like if they're going hatch first, which they usually do, I'd prefer to get 2 gateways and 1 cybernetics core at the wall, but Lucky Noob didn't risk it. He went ahead and put up that wall as quick as he can, which could potentially, and I don't see any reason why this is going to happen yet, but potentially open you up to a Baneling bust.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he does break down that pathway for the shorter rush distance, if either opponent does that, or if they choose to keep the long rush distance and abuse, maybe drops a close air position.
Yeah, Lucky Noob's chronoing out that Stalker to go ahead and chase that Overlord. That Overlord is just barely going to escape, though. It shouldn't die here, unless he turns it around.
And we haven't seen anything besides gateway units for Lucky Noob, so I wouldn't expect to see anything. Oh, 4 gates going down. Looks like he's going for
look at
another
this.
4-gate rush.
Yeah, 4 gates, and the door is open right now, so these 2 Lings might make it in. We're going to have to see. That Stalker, oh, it's returning. It's probably going to close that door. Maybe not, though.
Oh, no.
Those gateways are right next to the door. If those Zerglings can just run by.
He's going to get one. Oh,
he got it.
Barely gets it.
And the Overlord is looking. Stoji is looking, but he doesn't see it. He's just inches away from seeing the 4 gate.
He does have 1 spine crawler, but for 4 gate, I feel like that's not going to be enough. And he doesn't have vision in the middle, pylon going down, so we're going to see a really early 4 gate. This is pretty much an all-in for Lucky Noob at this point. No expansion, quick pylon, and he's going to try and keep him out of that Zelnaga tower so he doesn't see it early.
Oh, Soji scouts it. Look at that. 4 gates. Count them. They're all in warp gate. Okay, right now he's going to need drops some spine crawlers. Roach Warren goes down.
Builds 16, 18 Zerglings, 1 Queen. And
yeah,
no
it's a little
spine
late on the
crawlers
Roach
yet.
Warren there.
But he is going to move it forward. Oh, here it comes. He's going to try and do damage to this Expo. I think that's enough Zerglings, though, to deal with him. Especially, yeah, if he pulls his Queen and...
Look at that Warping and Zealots. This could be bad, though. Those Zealots will cut up all those melee units. All the Stalkers are about to go down, though. Good
he
defense
needs to
pulling
do
both
damage
queens.
here or he's definitely going to lose. I don't feel like that was a good trade-off.
No, you're right. Lucky Noob, it's almost over for him right now. I mean, he lost both his first waves.
This is it.
Oh, and he warped in, got surrounded. This is almost
Able
GG
to get us
right
around.
here.
Yep, we should see it any time now. I feel like Energy is definitely going to take this series. The Speedling's just chasing him down. But I don't think he'll rush in, and there it is. Good game.
All right,
that was a quick
Stoji
one.
takes it for energy.
Yeah. Yep, good games. I feel like he may have thought, generally, when you try and... I wouldn't call that necessarily cheese, but when you try and do a quick rush like that, it's because you think that your opponent is better, and you're just trying to get at them, throw them off their game any way that you can.
Yeah, and Ostoji showed that not only did he have solid play on a pretty solid map like Lost Temple, but he lost because of the second game. Really, Lucky Noob gets a lot of credit for that win, but it is a pretty favored map for the Protoss player. And Astoji, being a solid player on a map that's possibly Zerg favored like that, didn't seem too difficult for him to go ahead and clinch that. So we're going to take a couple moments here before we get into the next game, but NRG being up 1, remember they are the #1 seed for all of the playoffs, so I would say they're definitely favored to win this whole series, but M&M has been holding their own a little bit. There are some other games going on right now with some other players, and we're going to get the results to you in just a minute here. We have a treat coming up. It looks like it's going to be DDE versus Master Asia. That's not 100% certain just yet, but if we get to see some Master Asia play, that'll be pretty good. Master Asia is a player some of you guys might know.
Yeah, I don't know if you said it already, but DDE is supposed to be playing Master Asia in the second match.
Yep.
That's pretty much what we're waiting on. And Asia is ready.
Yeah, as I said, some of the viewers might know Master Asia. Master Asia is in Masters League, obviously, and it looks like he's actually ranked 9 right now. And more than just the ladder position, Master Asia has a lot of experience in tournaments, leagues, that kind of thing. So almost certainly the favorite player for this round, but we'll see.
Isn't DDE is 4,000 on the ladder right now, isn't he?
Is he?
I think he is.
Let me check. I heard about that. Somebody hit 4,000.
I think it's DDE.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, well, that's impressive. Okay, so it is Energy DD.
So
I think
two top 10 players either way.
Yeah.
And 9 is
Master Asia is 3,200 points, which is not the greatest ladder, but we all know Master Asia from tournaments and leagues, so we know there's not really a big discrepancy here.
I think this should be the best game of the bunch. The home team gets to pick who they play, so they've chosen this matchup, obviously, because DDE is probably confident. Master Asia is a Zerg player, so he's probably confident against playing Zergs. The home team is decided by who's the highest seed, so whoever's the higher ranked team is going to be the home team and pick all the matchup.
So I'm looking right now at 4,008 points according to SE2ranks.com, which ranks purely based on the points. DDE is the number 10 player in the entire world, which puts him in the US at number 3 behind Select and Piclic.
Nice.
So number 3 in the US. However, Blizzard, they use the MMR rating for their own top 200, and that's a secret rating nobody gets access to. But as far as points, DDE is up there.
Yeah, the matchmaking system and getting upgraded and downgraded in leagues is kind of weird. I mean, there's multiple posts about it and how it works and everything, but it's still somewhat of a mystery. Here we go, the game is made. Alright.
Lost Temple to start, it looks like. Once again.
So is this going to be another? Is this going to be a ZVZ?
Looks like it is. Should be interesting. I know some people don't like to watch the mirror matchups, but one thing I like about the mirror matchups is there's no room for discussion of balance, and balance is something that comes up a lot in the StarCraft 2 community. It's something people really like to talk about. I know with Brood War, since everybody agreed that it was balance, and anytime somebody would bring up balance, they just get put in their place where people would say, no, it's about play, best player wins, you need to learn if you think there's a problem. But when they're not mirror matches in StarCraft 2, a lot of people point out, oh, this map is this, like even we were talking about it. Jungle Basin is favored for Protoss, Scrap Station is favored for Zerg, that kind of thing. But Zerg versus Zerg, it should be perfectly even, and these are two top players. It should be an exciting game.
Yeah, definitely. I also ZVZ is one of my more favorite mirror matchups because it seems like it's kind of different. There's no standard like tank Viking type thing. You know, it's always different.
Yeah, and it can be very micro-intensive, although Zerg is the race of macro, so Zerg is all about overwhelming and overpowering your opponent. So when you have two opponents that have the same strategy, a lot of it comes down to micro. Especially if one of the player goes banelings, then it can become very, very intense. I've seen a lot of actually really low economy games that last for a long time on one base as people just blow up each other's workers and blow up each other's lings with banelings. Some other options are you could go roaches. If you go roaches, you might want to get hydras or infestors to back them up. There's a lot of different ways you can win. Whereas in Protoss versus Protoss, it's pretty much 4-gate versus 4-gate. Sometimes Robo gets mixed in as a transition, and Terran versus Terran, like you said, Tank and Viking is the backbone of most people's armies.
Yeah, usually. I mean, it can be different. Like against a sieged army, you can run around on them. Like you never have to engage them. You know, you can bypass them on a bigger map. But generally, that's if you don't have tanks in a TVT. Most of the time, you're gonna lose. I have seen it go other ways though, heavy bio armies and whatnot, and I've actually seen an all mech army from Team RS where they build all tanks and Hellions. It's very weird, but it worked every time I've seen it so far.
Yeah, okay, we're just about ready here. Countdown started. And Terran versus Zerg. Okay. Well, I was a little excited for Zerg versus Zerg.
That's why I asked at the beginning. I was like, I didn't think DDE was Zerg, but you never know.
Yeah.
In CEVO, you are allowed to change, so I mean, he could play this and then decide to play Zerg. Who knows? Which I think is kind of weird. I think that might be changed in Season 2. I think you should have to register as a race and then play as that race. Especially if they want to give like home team advantage type thing for picking matchups. How are you going to pick the matchups when you can play whatever? Okay, so here we go. Spawn positions, getting them out of the way. 3 o'clock, Red Terran, Energy DDE. And at the 12 o'clock is going to be the Blue Zerg, Master Asia, at close air position.
So interestingly enough, Master Asia looks like he's going for that same long position Overlord Scout. I'm a little worried about this one for Master Asia. Now, in Protoss versus Zerg, if you send that Overlord out into the middle, that's okay because Protoss does not get any anti-air as quick as Terran does. If our Terran player DDE is able to scout that, maybe grab that Zonaga tower and see that Overlord, it's possible, it's not guaranteed, but it's possible he could rush out a Marine and pick that off.
Yeah, definitely, and that can be really big in the beginning also.
Supply depot not at the ramp. That doesn't mean DD's not going to wall, but that'll expose him to cheese. If Master Asia was doing a 6 pool or 8 pool, which he's not, that could be a problem, but I think DD was just counting on the fact that Master Asia is trying to win a long macro game here.
Yeah, I choose not to block with that supply depot because I feel like A, it's too easy to kill, and B, it's too important. It's too important to lose early in the game, kind of like that Overlord placement like you were talking about. If it gets picked off early, later in the game it's not such a big deal, but early in the game it is, because you don't want to get supply blocked at such low unit counts.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
if you build for your wall... Yeah, he's definitely going to wall, and... Uh-oh, 2 racks going down. This is going to be a 2 racks pressure, some type of bunker rush.
That's almost the exact build that I use as Terran. I block with those two barracks, and then if you are in trouble and you scout it, you just put a bunker in between those two, and it works out really good.
Yep, and Master Asia knows where DDE is, but DDE, our Terran player, does not know where Master Asia is. In fact, you can see him scouting. He sees that Overlord, though. Or did he see the Overlord? The Overlord was on high ground.
I did not.
Maybe he didn't. And now DD looks confused. He went for the long position first to scout, and now he has quite a long run to go for the close position, and he's going to find out that unfortunately he went to the 2 wrong places first, and he took a long route about it. Master Asia, look at that. Master Asia comes and looks, he goes to scout, but he does not see the 2 barracks.
Yeah, that is true. He's moving in with his overload door, probably trying to see a little bit more. I think he doesn't want to get picked off early. He doesn't want to lose that drone to the Marine, which is most likely what could
Yep.
happen.
That might cost him the game, though, because look at this. We have 4 Marines out, 1 SCV going into bunker rush. Master Asia has no idea this is coming.
But the
and a round of drones goes down. Master Asia building a couple drones. He only has 4 Zerglings coming out.
But the bunker's not going to be able to go down. He didn't get there in time. That's the thing with this strategy is you got to get there before that hatchery is done and that creep gets in the way. Because he could actually block him into his base, separate him from that hatchery and kill it. Or put him behind that mineral line.
Alright, 4 more Zerglings coming up. 1 Spine Crawler going down. There's that backup bunker. He can crawl forward with these bunkers here. He might be able to pick off a couple drones or a couple lings.
Yeah. I think he's just going to try and keep him contained at any rate. And there it's done. Losing
oh, there it's up. Wow, devastating. Master Asia's in big trouble. Big trouble.
I do favor this this type of early pressure because he doesn't invest a whole lot in for a big return. Good Marine micro.
10 more lings coming out. That Spine Crawler is still not done.
Both of those queens.
Ouch, this is almost it. DD's almost clinched this game right here. Second bunker almost done.
As Expo is going up for DDE too, so he's not, like I said, he's not, this isn't a cheese, this isn't a rush really. This is early pressure that's going really well.
Yeah, I don't think he was really trying to win with this, but he might not win right here, but he's going to do significant damage, so he's almost certainly going to win later.
And if you look at the drones, it's 18 to 25 right now, not counting the mules. Master Asia's behind economically and unit-wise.
Yeah, and he's not making any more drones. He has 3 roaches coming out, 10 lings. But Master Asia knows he basically can't make a single drone.
He's going to have to keep creating offensive units, which is what you need to do early in the game. That's why Stoji was able to run away.
And look, this ling speed is not being researched right now.
Roaches, though. Roaches are great with dealing with bunkers and marine. This could be it. This is where he's going to try and break and contain. I think he will be.
This is going to be harsh. He's going to break it, but at what cost?
He's going to be able to break it, but a big thing is if you're not ready for that counterattack, like it looks like a DDE doesn't have, he's building 1 bunker now and has no kind of wall off. If he was able to break that...
That spine is really far forward. Yeah, he had to lift it up right after planting it. Very, very great micro. DD's really performing well here.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like I said, this is just early pressure that went really good for him, and I think he's done enough damage here that unless he does something crazy, or there's some really good harassment by Master Asia, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point, assuming Master Asia is able to hold off this rush, which is not guaranteed, he's going to have to do something very, very desperate. Nidus Worm, Baneling Bus, something very all-in.
Well, DDE is keeping that bunker there. And not reinforcing it, though. So, I mean, he's just going to... Yep, and he sells it. Gets his money back. Maybe. Yep. Oh, I don't know. It was too close. I don't even know if he got his money back. But it looks like he's got two Tech Lab factories going down and a bunch of barracks and a starport. So I think we're going to see transition into just tank marine. A couple marauders to deal with that, the incoming roaches, as he gets his 3rd bunker done.
Yeah, there's no way that DD's going to be able to be countered here. He'll be able to pull and repair, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, that's it. He probes
the
in there,
Master Asia knows it,
and then backs off. First tank is out. Siege tech is not being done yet.
Yeah, Stim going down, Medevac, you're right, looks like Tank Marine coming up. It's a pretty solid follow-up here. I would say if Master Asia goes for Mutalisks, which Muta, Bane, Ling is the best answer to that Tank Marine, that would be a blunder on his part.
I think so too, and basically on 2 bases this far behind, it's kind of all you can do. The roaches are
But
going to
you know
set it
what?
back.
Spire coming out. Look at that. So he is going to go for Mutas.
Yeah, that's what you can do when you're behind in a game. You can do heavy harassment or try expand cross map where you don't think it'll be scouted. Basically, all of it's risky, but it's what he's going to have to do to get back in.
Yeah, Spire's going to be a while though. Looking at the worker count right now, it's 46 for DDE, our Terran player. He's in the lead, over 40 for Master Asia, our Zerg player. And a little harass going down for DDE. He's almost killing that queen. He gets the queen, and now he's going to get some workers too. Ouch, this is really going to hurt Master Asia. This is making a terrible position even worse. He sees the Spire.
Man,
he might
and
even
if
be
he
able to
gets
pick
a
the Spire off.
especially before anything's built.
Well, he knows it's going down, and sure enough, if you look at DDE's base, he's dropping a missile turret in the main. I don't see any at the natural just yet, but he has plenty of warning they're coming. And only
And
2
here comes
meters coming
another-
out. There's just not enough gas.
Another slow tank push, it looks like, coming in. I think he's going to be able to end the game with this. He doesn't have enough units to deal with this at all.
Yeah, I agree.
And what he can do with that drop is keep him, at the very least, keep his army separate.
Idle workers for Master Asia. DDE scanning as he comes in. Stims up. Is just about it. There's no banelings out here to deal with those Marines. Not that they would even really do a whole lot of good.
He is going
More
to
units rallying in.
but with that many tanks, yeah,
That, and that's GG.
Nice work. Solid game by DE. You can see why he's 4,000 on the ladder.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that was a great play. It was good micro, good execution of that bunker rush, and as you said, that was not any type of all-in cheese. For any of our viewers out there that have lost to that as Zerg and sometimes rage at the fact that Terrans cheese when they do that, it doesn't always have to be cheese.
It's
But sometimes
generally
it
not
is.
cheese. Unless the barracks is in your base or somewhere crazy, it's not cheese. Because he can just sell those bunkers and leave, and he's really invested nothing besides a couple Marines.
Yeah, the risky part about doing that rush, though, is most of the time you'll go with a no gas build for the beginning anyway until you take your expo, and then you start getting gas, which means your tanks come out a little late. So I've actually had that just bite me in the ass where it comes right back at you. You bunker rush them, you do a bit of damage, but they make banelings and they roll over your base.
Yeah, that could lose pretty hard to a couple things. If he was going like a fast baneling build, pretty much blind, that could be big because they'll have him really quick. Or, like I said, if he's able to get that run by for the counterattack and you're not ready for it, you don't have a block off or bunkers, you're going to lose.
Yeah, but in this case, it was a great execution. Zerg, of course, has to use that larva to build units, so by building all those Zerglings, even though he actually had some money a lot of the time, he wasn't able to build drones just because of the larva. Master Asia is about to pick a map here, and we'll know where we're going next. What would you pick as a Zerg in this position?
I think against Scrap Station, as we're about to... No, Zelnaga. I actually wouldn't pick this, but like I said, it's fairly balanced.
Yeah, that's interesting. Nothing wrong with Zelnaga, so it's a solid map. I think Master Asia has a pretty good chance at a comeback. However, seeing how the last game went, he's going to have to pick up his play somehow. I think, though, Master Asia actually had a pretty good reaction, but he just failed to scout the rush. And, you know, he had that drone.
Yeah.
It almost went up the ramp, but he just chose not to. He was worried about losing the one drone, and instead he lost the whole game.
Yeah, sometimes you got to think about the trade-off. Like, I mean, yeah, you might save that, and it might get you a little bit extra income, but really, is it worth it not to know what's going on?
Yeah, it's a hard decision though. I mean, these are two top players where one drone losing it early, that can be a huge difference late game. So I don't really blame Master Asia for making that decision, but I mean, hindsight being 2020, looking at that, had he seen the rush, he certainly would have done better. Not to say that he would have been able to hold it off, but he would have been able to be a little bit more prepared. Although his entire reaction was pretty late. He actually, while the rush was coming, he made a round of drones, which that definitely would not have happened.
Okay, they have omitted you from the game, Garrett. They started, and I apologize, but that's kind of rough.
Oh,
I think
there's no chance for a re.
no, they won't. There, I think Laser's in here though. Laser, are you on Vent as well?
I sure am.
There we go. And trust me,
All right,
this
I'm
wasn't
tagging
planned.
out.
We didn't edge you out. This was a legitimate mistake, and they just started. Garrett, he just
actually-
Alright,
got,
it
he just
happens.
got jealous.
Yeah, I was
I'm
hating.
jealous
You
of you.
stealing my man. You stealing my job. Stealing my man. I'm hating. No. Actually, I was in here before, and I just like, it was kind of cute to watch the two of you guys do it. And then I tabbed out, and I tabbed back in, and the game was started, and I hit the cam button, and I didn't see you in here. So I was like, oh, good God.
That's that. I'm tagging out.
And side note, grown men don't say cute.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I just did it. It was cute. It was real cute.
Alright. Get these spawns out of the way. You go ahead and do that, Mike. That's your favorite thing.
That's fine. Okay. Bottom left corner, Red Zerg, Master Asia. Top right corner, Blue Terran, DDE. Playing for their teams NRG and Micro and Macro, right? Or is it?
Indeed.
Is it? Okay. All right. So I don't know the scores or anything. I just showed up, you know, spending some time with my fam. But now I'm here with my StarCraft and e-rev fam, you know. So, but
Yeah.
but I'm sure you'll keep
right
everyone
now,
up to date.
as far as we've casted, Eminem is down 1. Astoji 2-1, and now DDE is ahead by 1-0. Other matches, I don't know the outcome.
I was about to ask if these guys are actually going to let us do all 4 best of 3s.
I don't know. No, I know they're not because one game was already played, but I don't know the score of it. It was Vader and Vibe.
Okay. Well, hopefully Packeteer didn't leave, or what have you been calling him on the stream, Garrett? Packeteer? What is the
I call him
what
Garrett.
handle
I go by Garrett.
Okay, Garrett. I hope you don't leave because I know this match was on the fly, so I didn't even know this was going on. I just happened to show up, but I know we're supposed to do one at 10:30 Eastern, which is in 10 minutes. So, I mean, hey, look, bunker contain again, classic.
Yeah, he starts out a little bit further away than what I think most people would try, but it worked last time. So here we go. He is going to be able to stop it this time.
If it worked the first time,
For the time
rewind the
being.
tape and play it again. You
Yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
if it ain't broke, as he cancels though, runs back to his base. He's actually not going for the same build. His reactor switched into Hellion, which is going to be a lot different. But Master Age is going to be thinking that's what's coming, because he did not scout the factory or the reactor yet. So he's going to think, okay, I just stopped it. I stopped it. The worst is over, and very shortly these Hellions are going to be out doing some major damage to that expo.
I think the plan was to almost go for that, if you notice, because the factory was really quick. There was no second barracks. So I think he was trying to get him to just make all the lings he could, like he did last game.
Yeah.
I was in on the last game. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I flooded the stream with talk with the NRG admin, but I forgot. So I had to slip up. But I think he was trying to force him to make all those lings and then just roll up with 2 awesome 4x4 flamethrowers. And, you know.
And he's going to harass this. Hey, if you saw he pulled those 2 queens, you need those 2 queens to block the ramp. If the ramp wasn't blocked, DDE would have gone straight into that top platform and just gone to work. And he's still applying pressure, and he's able to keep those queens out of position too, so they're not able to. He's missing larva injects, creep spread, and all.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
his Hellions are getting stuck. Did you see that? They got stuck in between the
I did see
harvesters.
that.
They couldn't. Yeah, that was.
But
that
if
wasn't
you
like
look at the
his
unit
fault or anything.
count, he is behind on workers, 22 to 26 after that harassment. Got 5 kills on one of those Hellions. That's quite a bit. And he's just going to have to keep building those. It looks like the Marauder Hellion build, as he's rallying his Marauders down now. He's got 2 more Hellions kind of sitting up there. Okay.
He's also got a second barracks coming, and he's also expanding with an orbital. He's chose to make it an orbital before he even floats it over there. So he's going to be ahead a lot economically and be pretty suffice with his unit producing station.
Yeah, DDE plays a lot like I like to watch. Like I think you have to play against Zerg. Constant pressure from out the gate, but you also have to have a solid macro and follow-up and backup plan for when they do break your contain.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So far, he's been doing that.
And if you don't have that backup plan, then remember what happened yesterday on Metal and TVZ?
Yep.
16 minutes of all-out fighting for that breakthrough, and once the Zerg player broke out, it was all over.
Yep. You do. I mean, because it is. Yeah, it's important. It would have been good to get that bunker down, but it's a lot better to have that backup for like, okay, when this bunker doesn't go down, where am I going to go from here? And I think that's what separates a lot of high-level players from the normal, everyday guy.
Oh yeah, you can't overcommit. Had he just dropped a second barracks and just kept making Marines, hoping that the bunkers would have landed and there'd be, he would get that lucky first round of drones out of the Zerg again, and the outcome would have been substantially different.
There's quite a few Hellions he's got here, and he's able to keep them contained in his base. Obviously, Hellions versus Roaches, the Roaches are going to win, but the speed of the Hellions, he has to keep those Roaches back to defend his expansion. So he can't scout, he can't get up, he can't put pressure on him, he can't do anything right now.
Yep, but he's just keeping him contained in this natural. He's not giving him time to go get a third base. Yep. He's not giving him time to really do anything but just kind of sit there and build up a little bit of an army. And Terran 2-basing against the Zerg, who's 2-basing, Terran really does have quite the advantage as long as he's produces, as long as he's not sitting on there just spending it all on tech, which he's not really doing. I mean, he did get stim, but
we're seeing Marauders go down now. We might see a big engagement here soon.
Well, we got Baneling Nest almost done, by the way, for our Zerg player, 55-60.
Baneling against Marauder Hellion really isn't going to be too big of a thing. That might just be to break the ramp. Here we go, big engagement. And he is able to kill those eggs before they even hatch.
Yep, and he's going to lose these Queens and Roaches to the Marauders, and the Hellions are just there picking off drones and any of the lings that spawn. This is really good. I think we're going to see a good game shortly.
This is a really strong push, and I don't see him coming back from this. No spines, no nothing. He's just, yeah, this is basically over.
Pulling the drones with those Hellions. Those Hellions are making barbecue out of those drones.
DDE's production hasn't fallen off. He just finished building Marauders and 2 more Hellions. He's taking those down. This is pretty one-sided battle. He does have 2 groups focusing that spine crawl.
The only problem is he's stimmed so many times, those Marauders are so low, but still, he's just outnumbering.
And there it is. Energy takes 2 series.
Well, that was fun, but let's get Garrett back in here to finish up his cast with you. He respectfully started, and let's let him finish.
I think he's here.
I am here.
Alright. Interesting tag. Kind of sweet how that worked out. Alright. But now you're back. What you missed, if you weren't listening, was DDE just 2-0'd Master Asia. Second game was a strong Marauder Hellion push. He kind of faked him out with the first bunker, and then did a strong Marauder Hellion push where he was just able to basically wipe him out. Good micro, but Master Asia just wasn't ready for that strong of a push because he didn't scout it. He didn't see what was coming, and lost to it.
That'll do it. Like I said before, at this level of competitive play, I mean, you can't just not know what your opponent is doing. And Zerg players, I think, have maybe the most difficult time scouting, although no race has it too easy.
Yeah, but both times, if he would have just peeked up on that ramp, he would have seen what was going on, because the factory was on the ramp, and so was the reactor. So at the very least, he would have seen known early factory units were coming, and a bit more early pressure. I think when he stopped that bunker, he thought he was good to go, and he really wasn't.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and check out the video on demand at e-rev.tv. I'll check that out later. I saw the stream was up and I looked at it for a little bit, but I want to watch it in completion.
Okay. Vibe lost, Coco won, so that is the end of...
So that's 3-1.
The series, yeah. 3-1 for Energy as they take it. They're going to move on to play the winner of RS versus EG, which should also be an amazing game.
That's going to be
RS is
incredible.
on a hot streak right now. They haven't lost in at least 10 or 11 games in CEVO, and ESEA, I'm pretty sure they're undefeated. And we all know the powerhouse EG. So yeah, we will be casting that as well. They haven't set a date yet, and when they do, you can believe we'll be there.
Hey, just to do a quick throw-in, by the way, before Energy actually plays EG or RS, they have to get past Think Quick.
Oh, EG hasn't played yet?
No. Energy has to play. Energy is in one of those weird brackets where, like...
Oh, yeah, that's right, where they didn't play earlier. Okay. So
yeah, exactly. So Micro and Macro had to play to get to them in the round of 8, and this was like their round of 8 match, which is weird because we've already seen Micro and Macro play. So they have to play
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
I see it now.
And so it'll be them versus Think Quick, EG versus RS, and then yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for the correction, and again, we appreciate everyone watching. Thanks to Garrett, thanks to Laser for casting with me. That's about all I got. You guys got anything?
And thanks for joining us.
You guys are both cute. It's a very manly word.
Thank you. All right, we're out.